Good morning and welcome back. This week's been kind of weird. It's just kind of a catch-up week, but we're also reviewing some topics throughout the week. And I've been thinking really hard, well, what do I want to talk with my class about? What should we talk about? So I want to review a couple ideas that we've done this year and put them together into something that you're going to learn next year, but I think that you guys can handle it this year. And so this is just a strategy for fun. So we'll look at the review of the things that we've already learned, and then we'll jump into how we can put these two ideas together into one new idea that can help us solve some tricky problems. At the beginning of the year, we learned about the the array model. So if we were doing a multiplication problem like 5 times 6. We could do 5 rows of 6, and I'll even write that out. 5 rows of 6, and that was the array model. And so we'd make 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we make sure there's 6 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I have to fill in all these other rows to match them. And it takes a little while, and we learned some math facts so that we could do this faster. We learned a couple songs. We learned a couple tricks, like 5 times 6 is the same as 6 times 5. All right, almost there. And if we count this, let's count by 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. We know that 5 times 6 is equal to 30. Now, something else that we learned later on in the year was we learned about area. And so if we had a shape, let's say the shape was like this, we learned how to find the area of a square, and we learned, or a rectangle, and we learned that we can split this up. And so let's say this was 2 meters, and this was 3 meters, and this side is 6 meters, and this side is 4 meters. We learned that we can find the area of each square. I'm going to call this square A and this square B by multiplying these side lengths to find the area, and then multiply these side lengths to find the area and add them together. We could also draw squares in here and count them up, but that was a little bit of a tricky strategy. It just takes time to draw. Here, I'll show you. Let's do, I want a different color. I want this light gray. I'd have to draw 4 rows here. And I'd have to draw 2 here. And then I'd have to have 3 here. And then I'd have to have 3 more down here for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I could count the squares, and that would tell me the area. And we learned that a faster way of doing it would be to multiply. Instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that we could just say, well, let's find the area of this square by multiplying. And that's 6 times 4, these are meters. And then we're going to add that to 2 meters times 3 meters. So 6 times 4, we have 6, 12, 18, 24. So this is 24 meters. And we're going to add this. 2 times 3 is 6 meters. So the area of this particular shape, we'll say area, is 30 meters. Let's say that we have a really big problem. Let's say that we want to find what 26 times 3 is? We've learned some strategies that we can use. We've learned about how we can break this up and use the distributive method to kind of solve it, or we can use the associative property and say, well, this is, what would this be? We could do 13 times 2. And then this would be 13 times 6. But see, we don't know our 13 facts, and so splitting this number up and then using the associative property to change what we're multiplying doesn't really help because we don't know our 13 facts. We could do our 6's and then add on some more. But let me show you how we can do this problem using the area model. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw this as a rectangle, as if we were finding the area. So it'll be 3 this way, and it'll be 26 this way. And we're still going to use that strategy of breaking things up. We're going to split this here, though. This is going to be equal to 20, and this is going to be equal to 6, and those are get added together, so we'll put a little addition symbol here. And then I'm going to put, as a reminder, a multiplication symbol right here. So what I've done so far is I'm doing 26 times 3. I'm splitting up 26 into 20 plus 6 because 26 is equal to 20 plus 6. Those are the same numbers. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply these. So in this box right here, I'm going to be doing 3 times 20. And it's as though I'm trying to find the area. So you can almost picture those little squares that we drew before. But I don't want to draw 20 squares and times 3 squares. That's a lot. Then over here, this one's going to be 3 times 6, because this part of the rectangle is only 6. It's just like when I was breaking up complex shapes, except they're just side by side instead of being like this. I'll draw another example. Instead of being like this, and then the complex shape is this, I'm just having it be a really long shape and I'm splitting it into smaller ones. So what is 3 times 20? Well, we're going to have 23 times. Sorry, that is not the right number. So 20 plus 20 plus 20. And we've talked about multiplication with units of 10 so that we know that we could do 3 times 2 tens. So 3 times 2 tens. And that would be 3 times 2 is 6 tens, or 60. Or we could do it this way, repeated addition, 0 plus 0 is 0, 2, 4, 6. We're adding our tens together. We get 60. So 60, and then 3 times 6, we know this, 6, 12, 18. Now we just need to add these together. 60 plus 18 is 72. So the answer to 26 times 3 is 72, or 78. I don't know. I'm having a rough morning. We're in kind of a weird state for the rest of the school year, so I'm having a hard time adjusting. That's really cool. Now, I want you guys to try it out on your own. Just play around with this area model. Let's start with like 21 times 4. That's a good one. You would break it up into 20 plus 1. And then a harder one that we could do, that you could practice, might be like 58 times 7. Okay, that's going to be a tough one. And then if you really want to challenge yourself with the 3-digit number, then let's try 217 times 3. Okay, so those are some problems that you can try this area model out on. Now, just a reminder, this isn't a required assignment. You don't need to tell me that you've done it. This is just reviewing a couple things that we already know, area and the array model, and we're putting it together into one strategy. Okay, and so you don't have to do this. I just miss you guys. I wanted to show you something cool and kind of review things that we've already learned. I'm going to go ahead and show you the answer. So pause your video, give it a try, and if you want to see how to do it and make sure that you're doing it right, check against this. And if you made mistakes, that's okay. See where you've made a mistake, fix it, and that's what learning is. It's a lot of fixing mistakes, honestly. Okay, I've set up this last problem and I'm ready. Let's look at these first ones and then go through this last one. So I split up 20 into 20 plus 1, and then I did 4 times 20 plus 4 times 1. If I expanded this out a little bit, it would be 4 times 20 plus 4 times 1. But I just simplified my steps a little bit and put them together for you. Then here I split 58 into 50 plus 8. So I did 7 times 50 plus 7 times 8. And then I added those together. I got 406. For this last one, we've already set this up, and now let's talk about what we're doing, because this one's a little bit harder. So we're doing 217 times 3, so we split it up into 200 plus 10 plus 7. So we broke up those place values, and this would be 3 times 200 plus 3 times 10 plus 3 times 7. So this is 200, and I like to write it out in this written form of 200, because then I can see I'm just doing 3 times 2, so it's 3 times 200, and we can treat this kind of like a label, like meters, or milliliters, or miles, or whatever we're using. But then it has an extra value of these are hundreds. And so 3 times 2 is 6, so it's 600, and then we're just going to write it out in its normal form instead of writing it as 600. We're going to write it as 600. So that was the first part. Then we're going to add it together. It's 3 times 10. This is an easy one. You probably already know, 30. So 3 tens is 30. And then 3 times 7. I don't know why, but I really like 3 times 7. Let's go ahead and count it by threes. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Stop. 21. And now we're going to add these all together, because it's just like finding the area for a rectangle, a complex shape. So we've got 600 plus 30 plus 21. And I can stack these on top of each other because I find that a lot easier. 600, 30, and 21. Add those up. 0 plus 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 3 plus 2 is 5. And 6 plus nothing is 6. So the answer to 217 times 3 is 651. So that's another strategy that we can use to multiply numbers together. This was all, of course, doing a big number times a one-digit number. If we were doing a big number times a two-digit number, then it would take a few extra steps. You could use this model to multiply even bigger numbers times one-digit models. You don't have to stop at the hundreds place. It'll still work if you split it up. You're just going to have more numbers that you're going to add together. I encourage you guys, just pick some numbers and try multiplying them times one-digit numbers. Just have some fun with this. We're just reviewing and practicing. I guess technically this is a new skill, but it's taking two ideas that we already learned, putting them together into a new skill that hopefully is fairly easy to use. If it's not, don't worry about it. This is just something extra, something that I find interesting, that I really like, that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.